Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews. The Explorer 4 here, the Horror Boy, and welcome to another franchise review. And this franchise I really hadn't seen until recently, and for the longest time I'd only seen the first movie, and that is the Sleepaway Camp movies. You won't be coming home. I really like that poster right there. I like the artwork that Scream Factory did as well. It's not bad course to this set, but you have one as a DVD and one as a Blu-ray. So if you don't have a Blu-ray player, you can watch the DVD, which is pretty cool. And yeah, like I said, I still love that artwork. Nothing bad about it. Still love it, but I still love the original poster a lot. Stabbing it through the sneaker, pretty cool poster. But like I said, this was always a franchise I've been interested in seeing. I remember I picked this up right along with The Burning. And I don't think I picked up any other ones. I think this and The Burning I picked together. And they just seemed like a really good pickup. And the only reason why I didn't get Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3 on Blu-ray is because I hadn't seen the sequels. I knew nothing about the sequels, so I wasn't going to chance it, but I should have because I love the sequels. But like I said, I hadn't really seen these movies before until I had finally sat down and watched this movie. I actually did a review for it a long time ago, probably around 6 months ago. I seen this movie for the first time, and I did a review for it. By the way, it's 6.3 on IMDb. Came out in 1983, and it's directed by Robert Hiltzik, who was the director of Part 4, Return to Sleepaway Camp, or I guess you could count it. There's like two Part 4s. There's Sleepaway Camp 4: The Survivor, which is that montage movie, which I'm not really a big fan of because, I mean, I didn't even see it yet, but still, it's just it's just not even. It doesn't interest me. Let's just say that it doesn't interest me because all it is a montage movie. Stock footage from other movies is pretty much all that it is, and I'm not a fan of that because to me that's just a waste of time. It really is. And this guy would go on, I think he wrote Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. He also wrote Part 4, or he has the characters based on, I guess. Oh, actually, it's uncredited for Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. Basically just the characters. So yeah, I actually don't think he likes Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. Which, you know, I haven't met the guy personally, but I haven't heard the best things about him. I know people who have met him, and people say he's been pretty rude, especially about the sequels, saying that 2 and 3 aren't good. I'm sorry, I disagree. Parts 2 and 3 are just... I love the first movie, though. I still love this movie. I just think that Parts 2 and 3 are, like, way better than the first movie. But I'm actually one of those very few people there that actually still loves the first movie. The first movie is kind of one of those forgotten first films. You know, the sequels have been so good afterwards that the first movie kind of gets, you know, so uprun by them. It's kind of hard to catch up to that. And I honestly still love this movie. I think it's a great slasher film from the 80s. Kind of typical, but at the same time kind of did some different stuff. And I think the big thing about this movie that really separated it from other slasher films is the ending. And I'm going to be spoiling that ending in this video. So if you haven't seen this movie, just know that I'm spoiling the ending for this film. So, spoiler alert starting now. If you haven't seen this movie, something happens at the end of the movie that's very shocking. So, yeah, just warning you guys right now. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I recommend it. Go see parts 1, 2, and 3. They're awesome movies that I love. I actually love this franchise, except for, you know, The Survivor. It depends. If people want to see that review, I'll do a review on it. I just don't see the point of watching a movie that has literally footage from all other movies and maybe has 20 minutes of actual footage. It's not even a movie to me. That's like a portion of them. I don't think the movie is complete at all. I think it's just like a rough draft or something like that. But for right now, I'm just going to review 1, 2, 3, and Return to Sleepaway Camp. I'm going to skip that Survivor film because it just, to me, it's not even really a Sleepaway Camp movie, if you think about it. But like I said, this movie gets kind of, you know, shown up by the second and third movie, but I still love this movie a lot. It starts out, You really don't know what's going on, and there's these teenagers in this boat, kind of messing around with the boat, and this girl is going top speed towards this other boat, and she crashes into it and kills everybody on board, or I think it kills everybody except for one person, a survivor. It was Angela, and she's been traumatized by this event. She's very quiet. She's kind of a background character. And I thought Felissa Rose did a great job in this movie. Felissa Rose, of course, would go on to be in, well, I'm not going to say one of those movies, it's kind of a spoiler, but she's going to be in another movie, let's just say that. But I did a review recently with her in it, Victor Crowley, which that movie is bad, but I thought she was decent in the movie. So yeah, you got her, you got Jonathan Tiersten as Ricky. He's a good character, good actor as well. Karen Fields, Mike Kellen, Christopher Collette, Paul D'Angelo. So you got a lot of, I think actually, a lot of these actors in these Sleepaway Camp movies, most of them are their first roles. These guys would go on to be in a lot of famous stuff. Not really in the first movie, but really in the second movie. Like, Pamela Springsteen is Bruce Springsteen's sister, which is crazy. And I think you also have Renee Estevez from part 2? Let me get on that real quick. I think like Emilio Estevez's sister or something like that got her start in that movie. There's like a person from part 3 that's pretty famous as well. That was their first starring role as well. But yeah, this series has a lot of Renee Estevez. So that's pretty cool. She got her start in that, and also, Pamela Springsteen is awesome in those movies, and she's Bruce Springsteen's sister, which is pretty crazy. But like that accident happens. It's years later. Ricky's kind of this guy who I think is the cousin to Angela, and he's kind of the guy that sticks up for her. People bully her, and he kind of has this really weird mother who's kind of like, oh yes, I'd be ashamed if that would happen, but it's okay, I packed you some lunch. But it'd be a shame if that ever ran out of lunch, or it'd be a shame if the lunch wasn't very good. But it's okay, I packed some bug spray. But it'd be a shame if that bug spray didn't work. It's like, she does that a lot. It's a very weird character, very out there character. I thought the actress did a great job playing her. And she's very creepy, something off about her, and you kind of get why she's kind of off in the end of the movie. Something about her just seemed like really strange. She's a strange character. And it's a very simple plot line. They get sent to summer camp, Sleepaway Camp, which I don't think that's what the camp is called, but I've always called it Sleepaway Camp. Camp Arawak. I'm just going to call it Sleepaway Camp because that sounds funner. But, they get sent to this camp, and pretty much these accidents start happening. These weird coincidental accidents. Bodies start turning up. And it's another different thing about that, too, is that in this movie, it's not like we're seeing people getting decapitated and killed and murdered. Like, really, this killer starts to really plan this stuff out, make it look like accidents, which is definitely a different touch in this movie. And I don't know, compared to the second and third movie, I think that the kills are kind of, I would say it's probably on the same level as part 3, where it's like the kills really aren't that, great. But I would even say part 3 has good kills. It's just the MPAA cut a lot of it out. So, I would even say part 3 has better kills than this. But in this movie, you really don't have the best kills, in my opinion. I mean, this guy gets boiling hot water dumped on him. He's not really killed. He's just kind of injured. A lot of off-screen deaths. There's a pretty crazy scene where like this guy walks away from this place where all these kids were. And when he comes back, all these kids are dead. And it's a pretty crazy scene. So that was definitely a crazy scene. What else? There's a curling iron death scene, which was pretty cool. But I don't really think you've seen much. I mean, maybe you did. I just can't remember it that well. There's a scene where this girl gets stabbed through the shower curtain. And the knife kind of cuts down the shower curtain. Or it's not really like a... It's kind of like a part 4 kill. Friday the 13th, part 4, the final chapter. The guy gets killed through the freaking projector screen, and he kind of falls down with the knife. Only here, she doesn't get stabbed like that. I mean, she gets stabbed, but she doesn't fall down with the curtain. She just gets stabbed. You see blood, and then the killer comes into the shower and washes the blood with a knife. You have a beehive death scene, which is a guy pretty much in his bathroom. It's a beehive stuck in there, which you can clearly see there's no bees on this beehive, and then it cuts to an actual beehive of bees on this guy. Like, it was just I don't know. It was a pretty brutal death scene, but you could definitely tell it was kind of spliced together to kind of make it look intense, and it really didn't help that, you know. I would think by far my favorite kill is the one where this perverted old man that runs this camp, and he has this girl there, this like woman there, who is like into old men, which is really weird. So that's twice now I've run into an old horror film where these smoking hot young ladies are into old guys. Like Motel Hell, same thing happened in that. Smoking hot lead character in that, and she's into old men. Same thing in this movie. And then the same thing in part 3. It's like, man, how many of these movies am I going to see? These old school slasher type horror films from the 80s where these girls are into old men. It's like, god damn, you know? It's like, why the old guy? You know? I think in part 3 is also, like I said, part 3 has it as well. I'm like, come on, man. And losing all the dang hot chicks, you know what I mean? But, yeah, this old man, perverted old man character gets an arrow right through his neck. And it sounds typical, but the way it's done is a very good effect. Very good effect. I mean, you see the arrow go in, go out. It's perfectly edited. Probably one of the best death scenes in the series. It's really good. And then, of course, the scene at the end of the movie where this kid who flirts with this lead character, Felissa Rose's character, Angela. He flirts with her, and flirts with her. Finally, at the end of the movie, she's like, all right, I'll meet you on the beach at a certain time. And, you know, he ends up getting decapitated. They find his head. And, like I said, Felissa Rose does a great job in this movie. She's a very quiet character. She doesn't really say much, but she doesn't have to. And I think that's one of the best parts of this movie is that you really feel bad for Angela. Because really, all this stuff wasn't really her fault. I mean, of course, we'll get into the spoiler, but really you feel bad for her because she has a really troubled past. She's very traumatized. People make fun of her. This guy goes up, why are you so crazy, Angela? Just asked her that out of the blue. Like, why are you so fucking crazy? Something like that. How'd you get so fucked up? That's how it goes. How'd you get so fucked up, Angela? Such a great line. Just walks up to her and says that. I will say this, man. There's some weird stuff in this movie. There's a guy that walks around. I gotta find this character. Yeah, this guy. I think he's on the back of the Blu-ray. Right here. You see this guy right here? He is literally some of the weirdest outfits from the 80s. Like, totally 80s outfits. Is run around in, like, short shorts and, like, short t-shirts. Run around at a camp dressed like this. A lot of weird stuff like that. I don't know. There's definitely some weird moments in this movie. A lot of guys being like, oh, let's all go swimming, guys. It's just like, I don't know, man. It felt weird at times. I'll say that. And the guy wearing short shorts and wearing short t-shirts and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, man. Like, what is this? What the hell is this man wearing? You know? It's crazy, man. You got that. You got some, like I said, awesome 80s stuff. And also in this movie, I gotta give the movie this. The movie does a very, very good job of creating a summer camp. Dare I say, even better than parts 2 and 3. Even though parts 2 and 3 do it very well, I just think there's really no other slasher film that's made a summer camp atmosphere feel so realistic, feel very relatable. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've been to plenty of summer camps over the years. And this really captures that summer camp feel. I mean, to me, The Burning really didn't, they all look like they're in their 30s or 20s playing kids, and some of the Friday the 13th movies, they don't really look like teenagers. They look like adults playing teenagers and stuff like that. But in this movie, they actually got kids, real kids. This time it's not like 30-year-old actors playing supposedly 16-year-old, 17-year-old kids. It's like, it doesn't really work that well. But you actually have real, like I said, they get teenagers and kids, as well as, older kids too, like, the typical 18 year olds played by 25-year-old stuff. And then there's that crazy death scene where, the killer kills all those kids. It's a crazy death scene. Um, and, you're kind of wondering who it is. Is it Angela? Is it somebody else? And it's kind of obvious at first. I'm like, I know it's Angela until the ending. The ending is kind of like, wow, total out of left field, which I might as well get into now because I kind of cover everything else. Like I said, good soundtrack, some creepy soundtrack, some creepy melodies in there. I like Jonathan Tiersten, Felissa Rose, good characters, as well as the other teenager characters. Some decent acting. Really, the only problems I can say with this movie is a couple times it gets boring and slow. There's people just playing baseball, playing kickball, playing tennis. It's like nothing really going on. But besides that, so it was like I said, just get slow at times. Not the best death scenes. Not really anything impressive besides that arrow through the neck. It was a really well done effect. I don't think I have any problems with it though. And those are all small problems. I mean, I still love the movie. And to get into the famous ending, they go to this beach. They know it's Angela, and the thing that was confusing me, I'm like, so if we know it's Angela, then what's the surprise? What's the surprise? There's no twist, but they're building it up like it's a twist. So I'm like wondering the whole time, I'm like, okay, so we've established it's Angela, so what now? And then we get shown what now. It's like they get there, and Angela stands up. The head of that guy falls out of her lap or whatever she's holding, I think in her lap or in her hand or whatever. It's kind of creepy too because she's just sitting there singing a lullaby to this decapitated head on the beach. Kind of creepy scene. And then she stands up and she has, like, they did this thing where I guess they paid a college kid to wear a mask of Angela, and below is a guy. And it's like, oh, she's a man, she's a guy, and that just creepy. It's creepy. It literally is creepy. Excuse me, I can get it out. It scared me so bad I burping and hiccuping over it, just thinking about it. But it's creepy, she stands up, has that she's laughing, and it, zooms out, and she's a man, she's a guy, everybody's like, wow. And I can just imagine, back in the early 80s, that really wasn't touched on that much back then. I don't even think I can remember a horror film touching on transgender or something, people having sex changes or anything like that. I don't remember any of that back in the day. So it was a very big leap in the movie, which is very surprising, bringing that into a film. It's like, Silent Night, Deadly Night. In that movie, you have Killer Santa Claus and people getting upset about that. It's like, wow, that really, back in the day, was kind of unheard of. You never really heard of somebody going out and making a Christmas slasher film with Santa Claus running around killing people, Even though it's like weird because Black Christmas had a killer on Christmas. I think did not New Year's Evil, Christmas Evil, didn't that come out before that too? But I don't know, maybe Silent Night Deadly Night made it famous. I can't say that right. It's a tongue twister for me for some reason. But yeah, she stands up, it's a guy, and it zooms out and the music's playing, dun dun dun, and it's playing, and it builds and it builds. And then it ends. It's just such a great ending. And that moment right there is what really makes Sleepaway Camp very special. And it's just a very haunting ending. It's very disturbing, very creepy, catches you off guard. I'm just like, wow, And I don't remember getting spoiled, but I just remember hearing something about a horror film where there's a girl who ends up being a guy at the end of the movie. And I was like, alright, so which movie is that? And I finally found it. It's this movie. So luckily, it was spoiled, but it wasn't spoiled as in people saying, oh yeah, it's from Sleepaway Camp. I just heard of a Sasha film that did that. So, it was still surprising to me, because somehow I didn't hear that spoiler. It was a very famous spoiler. But, yeah, man, that ending's great. You have some decent practical effects they're not the best death scenes, but, when they're there, they're decent. Really well done atmosphere, really well done camp atmosphere, really well done just making you feel like you're seeing an actual camp. And you're kind of going back to the old summer camp days. You know, it just does a great job with that. It has a great moody score. It has some fun 80s stuff in there. You know, it's a very well made movie in my opinion. Still a very big fan of the first Sleepaway Camp. Obviously, parts 2 and 3 are miles better, but part 1 is still pretty damn good. So yeah, if you haven't seen Sleepaway Camp, first of all, if you haven't seen it and you made it to this point in the review, why, man? It was so crazy when it happened. Man, you would have gotten so surprised. I swear, you would have gotten so surprised. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's a very fun, you know, just a pretty good slasher film from the 80s. I really enjoyed. But I can't wait to get into parts 2 and 3 because I love parts 2 and 3. I'm going to have so much fun talking about those movies. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review of Sleepaway Camp 1. I'll see you guys later in the reviews for parts 2 and 3. I'll see you guys then. The Explorer of Horror is out. Bye, guys.